This time, I'd like to call the regular scheduled meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council to order at 1:20. The machine is open. Let the record reflect we have 8 councilmen present. Councilmember Roussel is absent today. Item 1A1 for executive session will be deferred today. Item B, proclamations. We have no proclamations. Item 1C, status report by the parish president.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In our effort to make Plaquemines Parish one whole parish again, let me give you the report that's been taking place. Mike Mudge, we want to congratulate him for his fishing rodeo for the kids in the Myrtle Grove area. Down in the Boothville, Venice area, Reverend Stephen McNeil gave an appreciation day for the first responders, and it was well attended, weather permitting. They did a great job. We had a paddle fest at the Point Lahash Marina. It was very successful. Some kind of way we came up with Irma Thomas's niece, Jana Brown, and the Free Agent Brass Band, and I want to tell you the place was rocking. If you drove down on the East Bank today, the lights are going up at the Griffin Center in Davant, Louisiana. The Rex Field finally has covered grandstands and not Napoleons, tarpaulins rather, that were blowing in the wind. The Belle Chase Pavilion, the goals are up in anticipation of the basketball season to try and give more room for that particular program. And we're working on the Buras Pier for a fishing project there with the Wildlife and Fisheries. There will be a ferry rate meetings throughout the parish on, I think, November 18th, 19th, and 21st. 23rd, excuse me. And, of course, the courthouse, the Hamps dynamic litigation has finally come to a close with a denial from the Supreme Court, and we hope to begin work on demolition there somewhere in December. And, of course, I think it's important for you to realize that we're spending $116,000 a month in interest. It's been accruing all this time, so it's imperative that we try to get this project finished. There was a tremendous episode that took place in the parish at Myrtle Grove, a breach. Thanks to an in-house cooperation with many of the parish employees, we were able to save the taxpayers of Plaquemines Parish probably over $500,000 by doing it in-house. At this time, I would like to recognize those departments that took part in that project. I want to thank the sheriff and his deputies for being on alert, on guard there. Sheriff Greco came on 2 occasions during the night to check on us. Kevin Davis with GOSEP provided some DOTD trucks to enhance the equipment that we're short of. We also want to thank Mark Drennan and Chip Klein. Representative Leopold was also there on hand. Director Stanley Wallace conducted more or less the operations. Mike Powell, Ken Dugas, Blair Rittner, and Vincent Frelish, and I think we left somewhere around 4 o'clock in the morning. The question was whether or not we continue working all night because of the safety problems with no lighting, and I have to say that the parish workers stepped up to the plate and they said, we're going to work through the night and get the job done. So at this time, I'd like to recognize the different departments, if you bear with me. If I could call on the heavy equipment department to come up and get a plaque, Robert Jackson, and the solid waste would be Scott Roussel, public right-of-way, Bradford Brooks and Daniel Spears, and drainage, we have Greg Simpson. If y'all would come forward to receive a plaque of appreciation. I have to tell you that Daniel Spears, I thought I was watching Jungle Jim. Moving around on the cables except the Haspel bags. And when they first called with the sandbags, we thought we had it under control. But the sandbags didn't work. Well, I figured, well, we'll get the Haspel bags, 2,000-pound bags, and put it in a hole, and that's going to solve the problem. I really got concerned then when it looked like the water was drop kicking those 2,000-pound bags out the hole. So then, with the innovative work of Robbie Jackson, Brad Brooks, and so forth, Scott Russell was there, they went and secured a dumpster. And we stuck the dumpster in there until we could get the riprap brought in. And like I said, these people worked over 17 hours. We had a guy by the name of Eric Sill, Heartbreaker is his nickname. I think he broke a lot of hearts of people waiting for us, maybe not to get the job done. He operated the front end loader. And of course, Darren McCurdy on the excavator, I think during that 17 hours, I only saw him take a break to eat a cold bar. It took about 10 minutes. He just dumped it down and kept on putting that riprap there. So we really appreciate their efforts. I'd like to call out the heavy equipment, other people who are working there. Jody Ancor, Darren Anderson, August Barthelemy, Randy Brooks, Troy Douglas, Michael Holman, Houston Hunter, Calvin Randall, Walter Smith, John Smith, and John Sylvester. That was the heavy equipment department. Give a plaque and they'll get certificates to the heavy equipment department. Working in solid waste, we had Matthew Gugere, Bobby Brown, Delton Collins, Rex Falcon, Brandon Marshall, John Mitchell, and Kerry Trufant. And so we'll ask Scott Russell to accept the flag for solid waste. Right away, Bradford Brooks, the superintendent there, and he's not able to be here today. He's working. Daniel Spears, like I said, our Jungle Jim, Johnny Becknell, Willie Franklin, Russell King, Ernest Garrison, Michael Arett, Michael Broussard, Harold Davis, Christopher Hamilton, Justin Gibbons, Victor LaRose, and Jerry Bishop. And then under drainage, Greg Simpson's department, we had Martin Johnson and Darren Ott. Really, these guys, who were there, were watching work through tonight. I'm sure that you would be first in line to express your appreciation to them. And I know I owe them a lot, and I think Parish of Blackwood owes them a lot. So, thank you all. I'll let you read one of the plaques, but I'll say the same. For your service and dedication to the Myrtle Grove Levee Bridge, plaque is Parish Government, Amos Cormier Jr., Parish President, 2015 appreciation. Once again, thank you all.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I want to thank Mr. Cormier for that fine job, but I also want to say to the constituents of my district that I was on the scene every day that that breach was in progress. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. And echoing the sentiments of Council Lady Salvant, we do appreciate the residents in Myrtle Grove. The far majority of them were behind us, in other words, Warren Lawrence and his group, to try and get the breach plugged up. There were some that were concerned about us and actually did not want us to get the breach plugged up, but I think that was the minority. So we appreciate the support of the residents there.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Badalman, yes.
Mr. President, could you allude to the fact how much money was saved by doing this in-house? Let the public know what we saved.
Yes, we estimated that we probably saved over $500,000 by utilizing the parish workers. And that's one of the things that we've got to do with the budget constraints now and in the future. We have to rely on the people inside of our departments to work and provide them with the opportunity to show their skills. And I think they really stepped up to the plate and did a tremendous job there.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any more comments or questions from the table, from the audience? At this time, if there's no objection from the table, I'd like to move to item 6P.
A resolution authorizing and directing any council providing assistance in pursuing claims described herein, including but not limited to Carmouche & Associates, LLC, DBA Talbot, Carmouche & Marcello, Connick & Connick, LLC, Costage, Summage, Parasol & Taylor, LLC, and Burglas & Tankersley LLC, hereinafter collectively referred to as outside counsel, to cease and desist from performing any work associated with the legal action currently pending under the Coastal Zone Management Act as provided for pursuant to ordinance number 13-210, other than to dismiss all actions and lawsuits pending pursuant to the Coastal Zone Management Act and ordinance number 13-210, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I will offer and ask for a second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. Before we open this up, I just want to read a couple of things. The wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to do that which is right. For those that have been attending the council meetings over the last few years, that's part of the prayer that we say. These are the words by which I live my daily life by. It takes courage to make tough decisions. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in. And it takes courage to do the right thing. We're here today to discuss a very important issue as it relates to Plaquemines Parish, our businesses, and our families. So before we open up any discussion on this item, I'd just like to make sure that my colleagues at the table are aware that this is ongoing litigation, and I would respectfully ask that you refrain from going into any detail of the litigation. We're here to listen to the residents, their concerns, the business owners that are for the lawsuit and against it. We're going to make sure we follow the council rules. We're going to limit everyone to a maximum of 5 minutes of speaking. And most importantly, respect everyone. So if you're coming up to speak, we're not here to bash anybody. We're not here to degrade anybody. Come up, say what you have to say, and move about the rest of your day. So with that said, I would like to start off the conversation with those that are in favor, or actually in opposition, in favor of the lawsuit, to please come up, state your name, where you live.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Phil Cossage, Jesuit Bend, previously Bellchase, previously Buras, Venice, and Port Sulphur. As you know, my law firm is one of the group of attorneys that do represent the parish in this litigation that's been ongoing for over 2 years. The other attorneys, all the firms are here, and all of my comments they concur in. I will start very simply. You need an executive session before you can vote on this issue. You need to hear the legal issues, the ramifications, the cost, the responsibilities of what you're doing. As I've told you, Charlie, as late as yesterday, you need to hear from your lawyers. Just like if you're dealing with a serious medical condition, you can't say I'm stopping service and not talk to my doctor about it. What you all are looking to do could have serious ramifications financially and other ways for this parish and other people, particularly the state. When each of you rose your hand before God and said you were going to enforce the laws of this parish and state when you took office, you incurred what's called a fiduciary duty. Your duty is to enforce the laws of this state. These 21 separate lawsuits covering 21 separate fields are exactly that. You're enforcing the basic rules of this parish and this state on permitting, and for those that did not do permitting. That's a very fundamental law that you're enforcing. And by enforcing them, you're doing what you do to everyone else. When I put a shed behind my house or my barn, I needed a permit. It's the same thing. It's not a subjective thing. And all of these permits, all these violations were on very, very specific problems. Y'all all know that. We've had this conversation. The problem that you have now is I am very concerned for each of you that you may be committing malfeasance, in my mind, for you to vote on this issue without first going into executive session with your counsel and seeing what you're exposing this government to and maybe yourselves personally. This lawsuit is not just yours. When this council decided to file this suit over 2 years ago, you incurred some responsibilities that were different than before you took it. There were 4 entities that could have filed this lawsuit: the Attorney General, the Governor through DNR, this council, because you implemented a coastal zone management plan a few years ago, and our DA. If you dismiss this suit as you say dismiss it, you are doing certain things. I can't get into details now. Again, we've got to go into executive session. That could be very detrimental to the long term of this parish and potentially personally to each of you. So that's something you need to hear before the masses give you their concern. And I will tell you this, other parishes are moving forward with their suit. Jefferson Parish is moving forward. We have hearings in the Plaquemines case in December. We've been in federal court, we've won everything there. We're in state court now, and we're moving ahead. We're going to have this thing done soon. That's why the urgency is here. Jefferson Parish is moving forward. So I'll just remind you, when Jefferson Parish gets their billions of dollars to start fixing their coast, and all the jobs are sitting in Grand Isle and Fourchon, remember the conversation you heard from me here today. And let's talk about the lawsuits. There's a lot of lies about the lawsuits. You've heard it before, but I'm saying it again because that's why a lot of people get excited. This is not a general lawsuit against everybody to clean up all the messes. We have filed, on your behalf, 21 separate lawsuits for 21 separate fields for those who violated their permits or didn't get permits. We're not asking somebody who did something behind Port Sulphur to clean up Grand Bay. We're not asking somebody who's out there today to clean up what happened 25 years ago. So, as part one of the suits is behind Port Sulphur. I mean, Port Sulphur didn't leave Freeport. Freeport left Port Sulphur, and what a heck of a mess back there. I have no idea why you'd want to dismiss that suit, telling them to come clean up the Grandikai, the biggest mine in the world at its time. I do not understand it. Again, we need to talk in executive session. And if you're worried about the people that are operating out there now, we have solutions. The main targets are those who actually did the damage, not in the particular field and when it happened. The vast majority of the people in this room know what happened, when it happened, and who did it. That's who should pay. We're not holding the people that are operating out there now responsible for what Gulf Oil did, Charlie, behind Buras, where you and I grew up. Remember, Buras and Venice did not leave Gulf. Gulf left us, and they left us with a heck of a mess. We want Gulf to pick it up. We're not asking the operators now to fix that. We're asking Gulf. Chevron now.
Mr. Cox, I didn't mean to cut you short, but your 5 minutes is
Well,
up.
I'm also speaking as your attorney.
I understand that, sir.
And let's just talk about the resolution you're
Mr.
passing.
Cossich,
You're cutting me off?
yes, sir.
Can I have one finished statement?
Please close.
I will let you know that what you're doing here today is impinging on the rights of other parties, including the state, and be very, very careful.
Thank you.
Any questions?
My name is Russell Honoré. I live at 1443 Memorial Tower Drive, Baton Rouge. I'm here representing citizens in Plaquemine Parish and citizens of Louisiana concerning the protection of our natural resources in the coast of Louisiana, and namely right here in Plaquemine Parish. Plaquemine Parish has paid a great sacrifice for the development of this nation. We went along with all the big oil and gas companies that came here and explored the natural resources. They came, and many of them have left. When the price of oil got better off the coast, that's where they went. And they handed their existing oil wells over to LLCs, many of them with Texas addresses. And then they got the legislature to pass laws. After those wells are handed off 3 times, the brand ran away from it. What kind of brand are we talking about? We're talking about Exxon. We're talking about Chevron. We're talking about Phillips Petroleum. And they handed it off to little guys who left holding the bag on these polluted sites. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a legislature that have set us up for failure in Louisiana because they tried to pit us against the oil and gas company at the local level. The local level, we need those jobs. America needs that resource. America, I came here with gas that was more than likely processed somewhere through and around this parish. But that does not give them the right to come here, have an open permit, then come back to us when the oil price is low and say, take pity on us. They didn't take pity on us when they were getting $130 a barrel. What are the roads like in Plaquemine Parish? Do we have the best roads in the state? Do we have the best schools in the state? Are we the best resource parish in the state? We should be. But this very people that's coming to you and telling you not to sue them are the very ones that have came and left the pollution here in our state. And the CPRA has not been fair to Plaquemine Parish. Look at where the money went and who's getting the money. The first $30 million on the CPRA is going to Calcasieu Parish. Calcasieu didn't take any damage from BP, but Plaquemine did. And the very people who are running the CPRA are the ones that want to tell you you shouldn't sue. You're not suing for yourselves, you're suing for the people of this parish and the future generations of this parish. The young children that's going to live here and try to live in this place. And what about our fishermen? We need to restore and fix the pollution. How can we be sorry for Exxon? They made $44 billion profit last year. How can we be sorry for them when times are bad? They're not sorry. When Katrina hit and the price of gas at the pump went 3 times the amount of value, did they give us a break? When many of you were living in trailers all around the country, did they give you a break on your gas? They say, why didn't want us to give them a break? Because the price of oil is going to go back up. And data will show that they're continually buying permits here in the parish because you're giving them the permit. The price of oil is going to come back, and they're going to come back. In the meantime, we need to hold these multinational corporations accountable for the damage they've done in our parish. This is a beautiful place. No more than the drive I took here today. I've never been to this part of the parish before. This needs to be protected, but lurk underneath some of that beauty is polluted oil pits and fields that have been left here that need to be recovered. And somebody needs to be held accountable. If we don't hold them accountable, then who will? Let's not pass on this opportunity. And after all, it's just a suit. We're going to court. It's not like the poor little oil companies don't have lawyers. They'll bring them in there by a 747 load. And it won't mean nothing to them. And poor little Plaquemine Parish will still be sitting around here smelling benzene. I asked you for 2 things to delay this decision. We've come too long or too far. Delay the decision for at least 30 to 60 days, and let's have a real legitimate public hearing for the people of the parish to come forth and speak. Let the people of the parish have a voice in this. Because there's a lot of people speaking here today like me, they work in Plaquemine Parish and they don't live here. Look at the number of trucks that leave here in the evening, leaving Plaquemine Parish. But they have an equal voice in what goes on here. This is a beautiful place. But it's at the tip of the iceberg of something that's happening in this world, and that is the impact on our coastline and on our water and our air. This is a beautiful place. We need to protect it. But the first step we need to make is to clean up the mess that's been created. The lawyers know who did it. You know who did it. Many of you have worked in these fields. Now is not the time to back off because the price of gas is only $2.34 a gallon at the pump. Thank you very much, and I hope the parish, as you've always will, the people elected here, will think about the people who are not here today, the young children who are going to live with the decisions you make. But I can tell you this will not be over. If we've got to go to the Department of Justice, if we've got to go back to the Supreme Court, somebody's going to fix this parish, and it's going to be the people who broke it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General.
My name is Victor Marcello. I'm in the Talbot, Carmouche, and Marcello firm, and I've been handling a lot of the legal heavy lifting since this began 2 years ago. There are 21 cases filed on behalf of Plaquemines Parish. There's 7 cases filed on behalf of Jefferson Parish in the current coastal zone litigation. I kind of feel hemmed in, confined as to what I have to say because, as Phil pointed out, we're not in executive session. I represent the parish, but there's a lot of things I would like to say that I can only say in executive session. But what I'll tell you now is what I know that I can say. That's public record, that if you read the records in the courthouse, you can find out what's going on. And this is what's going on. When we file these lawsuits, we filed them on behalf of the parish because this parish has an approved coastal zone management program. As Phil pointed out, there's 4 entities that can bring suits under the Coastal Zone Management Act. Back in 1978, the state adopted this act, and it empowered parishes with local programs to bring suits for damages for violations of permits or the failure to obtain permits. There's a long set of regulations that deal with the coastal area, and if you violate those regulations, the parish can sue for damages for those violations. One of the biggest issues in federal court was whether or not the local parish, there have been very few suits filed under this statute. One of the biggest issues in federal court was whether or not the local government with an approved program can sue to enforce state laws within the parish. And just like the local sheriff's deputy can give you a ticket for not having a driver's license, even though the state gives you the driver's license, the same thing applies here. We have enforcement authority to sue on these state concerned permits. They're called state permits. All oil and gas activities are basically governed by state concerned permits, permits issued by the Office of Conservation or the Department of Natural Resources. So we have, and what we represented to the federal court, which was correct, and which the federal court accepted, all of the federal judges that have looked at this have accepted, is that we have a right to enforce these laws on behalf of the state. We have a right to enforce these permits. And so by unilaterally dismissing this case, we are implicating state interests. Before coming here, when I found out this resolution was coming up today, I called the lawyer for the Department of Natural Resources who is monitoring this litigation for them. And he asked me to ask you to give them time to evaluate what they're going to do in the event you decide to dismiss these cases. Just the dismissal of these cases, the manner in which they dismissed is a very complicated legal discussion that we can only have in executive session. This is a very serious thing you're getting ready to do, and you're doing it without advice of counsel. And I'm here to tell you, and I have to tell you today, that you should not do this until we have the opportunity to go into session so I can explain the consequences to you. I'm not going to do it in public because it's not proper. I know some of you have been talked to by various people. Some of those people that have been talking to you and trying to convince you to dismiss these cases or may be working on behalf of certain lawyers that represent the other side. That is a gross violation of Rule 4.2 of the Rules of Professional Conduct to do that. I'm not saying that anybody's violated it, but if anyone talking to you had been directed by a lawyer as to what to ask and what to say, and we did not get notice as your lawyer before that conversation happened, there is a violation. Certainly, anyone in this parish has a right to petition their government and talk to their representatives. I'm not saying that those rights don't exist, they certainly, but we have pending litigation here, and it's very important that everyone here understand that as members of the council, you have to make decisions, and you have to make decisions with regard to an issue of pending litigation that deals with this parish. And what you say and what you said and what you're going to say here today, one day you might have to sit and have your deposition taken as to why you did it. Because I can bet you, I can tell you that what's going to happen is the parish of Jefferson is going to go forward, and the parish of Cameron is going to go forward with their lawsuit. And the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to want to take your deposition to try to get you to say you didn't believe in the lawsuit when you filed it. That's what they're going to try to get you to say, and what you're going to say is going to affect what's happening in every other parish of this state. It's going to affect what happens to the coast. It's just a very critical, we are in terms of coastal management, we are in the fourth quarter. There's 2 minutes left, and if we don't do something now, it will never get done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Chairman, council members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Byron Ankelard. I'm your local town constable. I also own Ankelard Fisheries. And I'm here to try to get you to understand how important this means to clean up our waters. I'm the constable. That means I'm the law enforcement officer. If anybody in this room violate the Pollution Act, which is littering, I've got to write you a ticket. And those fine deputies back there are going to back me up. We shouldn't have nobody, because they employ people to think that they're above the law. My boats operate out of this marina down here. Just recently, my boat with a 3-man crew hit a pipe, threw my crew all over the deck, bent my rigging. Who's paid for that? We pay for it. The fishing industry is a $3 billion industry plus, and we are losing because our coast is eroding. The scrap that's left out there is causing us millions and millions of dollars in damages. Nobody is volunteering to say, we're going to pay for it, it's our equipment. And one of the companies they talked about, I worked for Gulf Oil. I was an operator in their refinery. And I don't think nobody wants to go after good companies that's doing the right thing. But unfortunately, look at the history of the oil and gas industry. The only way we are forced to make them do the right thing is to sue them. I mean, it would be, if we lived in a beautiful world and they would just step up and say, I did it, I'm going to clean it up and I'm going to fix it, I'm going to help your fisheries, they're not going to do it. They haven't done it. And just as recently as one of the biggest man-made spills in the world, we're still fighting to get these communities compensated. So, and I'm not going to just go on and be repetitious, but I support this lawsuit. I support it because I live here. I don't want to see what have happened in the past. The money to clean it up falls on the back of the people and my children and my grandchildren. I've been here all my life. My great-grandparents grew up, lived right beside the courthouse, back of old Pat Adam's house. So my family history in this parish goes back many generations. And some of my family is on the council. So I thank y'all and I urge y'all to support this for not only just us today, but for our children and our grandchildren. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Tracy Riley, retired, 24 years, Army. I came here today strictly for the purpose of being informed, to listen to see what's going on. I personally support this lawsuit because I live here. I eat off of the land. My husband goes fishing. In fact, he brought in some fish last night that I quickly gobbled down. But in the back of my mind, I was very concerned. And I'm not going to take 5 minutes, as again, I just came here to listen. In the military, we have policies, regulations, procedures that we must follow. And if we do not, you have chaos, okay? If you do not, you're held accountable for it. So I won't go into a long list of why I support the lawsuit. I just want to stand before you as a citizen of this parish. You have been informed by your legal representatives that this action could very well be a violation, if not a law, a policy or regulation that this body is to uphold. And for that reason only, I am here asking you not to move forward with canceling this lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kendra Arneson. I live down in Buras, Louisiana. Like most of you, I came back 10 years ago and rebuilt our home and both of our businesses, which I value greatly. Unfortunately, I can't fall in love with my home. I own one of the most beautiful homes in Citrus City that exist, but I can't fall in love with my home. I can't put antiques from my grandmother in my home. I can't put the 80-year-old china that was just given to me in my home because my land in my home is unsustainable. My land in my home is unsustainable for a number of reasons. We all know that the oil and gas companies that are named in this lawsuit are responsible for part of that. I'm not claiming that they're responsible for all of it, but there's satellite imagery to show that they are responsible for some of it. I was told this week that we need to give these companies the opportunity to be good neighbors. That opportunity has came and that opportunity has passed. For decades, they have reported record profits, yet they have failed time and time again to be good neighbors. We do have good oil and gas industry companies that exist in this parish. My neighbors and my friends and my family work for those companies. I am not anti-oil. And I think a lot of people in Plaquemines Parish think that I am because of the advocacy that I have been part of for our commercial fisheries. And I want to make real clear that I am not anti-oil field. However, I am anti-negligence. Our parish lands have been neglected over and over again. We need true coastal restoration in Plaquemines Parish, and we are in the last quarter, in the last 2 minutes. And if we don't do something, we will lose our home. It's at this point, we sit back and hold our breath for every storm that comes through here. Every storm. I can't even stay with my children for a tropical depression, a light one, because you know, for Isaac, they had water coming over the levees. We had saltwater intrusion in our river that year. We was bringing fresh water in right here in Buras because the river was so low. If the river wouldn't have been that low, Isaac would have flooded the whole south end just like it did Myrtle Grove. It looked just like Katrina again. And most of us can't afford to come back. We're all getting older, and I'm going to tell you, my nerves can't take it. I won't go through another rebuild in South Plaquemines Parish following another hurricane that destroys us. If you guys vote to dismiss this lawsuit, it doesn't mean it's the end of the lawsuit. It means the state could pick it up. I was told, well, this is the state's responsibility. No, first and foremost, this is home, and home takes care of home. Charity starts at home. It's not the state's responsibility. Each and every one of our responsibility in this room and on this council to take up the arms on this and hold these companies accountable. If the state picks this up, the hundreds of millions of dollars this lawsuit is potentially worth will not go into coastal restoration in Plaquemines Parish. We'll see another addition to a convention center in New Orleans or a sidewalk in front of Baton Rouge, the Capitol building up in Baton Rouge. We'll see some ridiculous community center in some community 3 parishes inland for damages that have been done to Plaquemines Parish. So I urge you as a resident and a constituent here in Plaquemines Parish to do the right thing by everybody. I'm not anti-business, but we have to do something to gain some sustainability for the very land that we're standing on. And that's all I have. Have a good day.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the lawsuit? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Warren Lawrence. I live at 120 Timber Canal Lane, Myrtle Grove, Louisiana. I come to speak in favor of the lawsuit, and I guess with a caveat on it. I've always said that we should negotiate when we can. We have been unable to negotiate it. It's now in the court system. My whole problem with the matter is that even today, we are issuing permits, not only to oil and gas, don't blame just them, but that are taking advantage of our properties, Plaquemines Parish properties, and not restoring. We have never introduced anything here to put enforcement as of today. In other words, we are out there doing the same thing they did in 1934 we're doing today. I just witnessed that they came in and did a repair on a gas line at Myrtle Grove. They had to ride the marsh buggy through the marsh, the airboat through the marsh. We just pumped that land in as a restoration. And go there and look at it, how they've sunk it. Nobody's going to make them go back and take care of it. My problem is that if we want to sit down and negotiate, let's at least from this day forward go on and put something in the system that says they have to do the right thing now. You've seen the reports, 36% by the Gas Institute said between 1934 and 1990 was direct and indirect responsibilities from the oil and gas. I don't know if that figure is right or wrong, but at least we have something to negotiate to. And in closing, I just ask that you consider not necessarily dismissing, put this away for now. Let it take its course. Let's sit down. We do committees for everything else at this council. Let's sit down and say they know what the suits against them are. Let them come to the table, and what percentage are they willing, if any, to admit they've done. And if any of you have accepted campaign donations and everything from these companies, think about what you do when you vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Anyone else in favor of the lawsuit that would like to speak? Thank you all very much for your input. At this time, those that are against the lawsuit, actually you come forward, state your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Nick Conkey. I live at Kimberly Court in Buras, Louisiana. There's a lot of veterans in the house today. I myself am a veteran. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, served 8 years, fought in Iraq, I was a decorated combat vet. I have one piece of experience that I can say separates me from the rest that spoke earlier is that, well, I live in Plaquemines Parish and I work in Plaquemines Parish, and I also work for oil and gas. And what you've seen here today is, I would say I'm shocked, but I'm not. You had attorneys come up and pretty much threaten the council, bully the council and say, if you don't do this, don't stop this. And it's because they're all here to protect the fee, because that's what it's about. This is what they want you to believe. They want you to believe it's the environment versus oil and gas, and it's not. It's the people of Plaquemines Parish, the jobs, the families, against a group of attorneys that really want this lawsuit and have a track record of never fixing anything. So just like General Honore or whoever else, I'm for the environment. So if we can fix the environment without a lawsuit, the parish wins, right? The only ones that win with the lawsuit are the attorneys. And they talked about the 4 entities. You have 4 entities that can sue. Well, I think it's kind of fascinating that only one entity decided to sue. Only one, us. So those other guys in the Department of Natural Resources said they didn't find any violations, and they didn't bring the lawsuit. We did, under our Coastal Zone Management Program, which has been touted. So let's look at that Coastal Zone Management Program, which is what gives us the authorization, according to the attorneys, to sue. It also requires us a step-by-step process, and I've sent it to some of the council members. Our own program says we need, if there's a violation or an alleged violation, there's a process we have to notify the permittee that there's a violation or an alleged violation. And there's a form you fill out, and you talk to them, and you try to alleviate the problem. That's the first step. And then if that doesn't work, you take it to the council, and they try to alleviate the problem. And if that doesn't work, then you can sue. We did this backwards. If you have an argument with your spouse, do you file divorce papers then say, I want to talk about it? No. That's not what you do. And that's what the last council did, and I think there's a lot more information that's come to the table. And I think you've had enough executive sessions. The beauty of executive sessions for these attorneys is they get you in a room and they tell you whatever you want to hear, or they'll threaten you. And they'll say, if you do this, we're coming after you. I know doctors don't threaten patients that say, I really don't want to go that surgery. You hear the pros and cons of a surgery, and the patient decides if I want to go elect to have that surgery. You'll never hear a doctor say, you better do it or else. You don't hear that. I think that's very telling. And to Mr. Encalade said about he's a constable, and if there's someone who breaks the law, that's right, you issue him a citation. You don't sue him. We didn't do that. We didn't follow the steps. And these are a lot of allegations. It takes $5 or $50 in a typewriter to file a lawsuit, and all it is allegations. And there's a track record here. And y'all have all been elected to represent the people of the parish, and that's what it's about, these jobs and these families. We're hurting. And we appreciate it. We know y'all are intelligent, and y'all are honest, and you're going to do the right thing. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today.
Thank you.
Good evening. Chad Madera, 30568 Buras, Louisiana. Started this journey approximately 13 months ago. My father was a big outspoken against this lawsuit. As tragedy goes along, my father had a stroke, partially paralyzed in his right side and lost his ability to speak. So I'm here today speaking on my father's behalf, plus my company's behalf. Everyone talks about Big All. Currently you looking at Big All. I currently employ 72 local business, local residents that work for me. We've been successful with Big All. It's just it's a tragedy that we're here today. But like Nick explained, I'm all for cleaning up our environment. But this is not about that. I appreciate everyone if you support Mr. Charlie Burt's resolution to drop this lawsuit. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Troy Lombardo. I'm actually from Berwick, Louisiana, which is over by Morgan City, if you're not familiar where Berwick is. Berwick has 2 famous things that came out of Berwick. One was a little girl named Genevieve Guitros, who grew up to be Jenny Craig, the famous weight loss lady. The other thing that came out of Berwick that's pretty famous is the blowout preventer that was built in Berwick at Cameron Iron Works that put out the BP oil spill. So we're proud of both of those facts. And I'm here today to express to you, I work for an oil-field contractor. I'm also an elected official in my third term as a councilman in the town of Berwick. So I have a unique perspective as to what you're going through. And what I want to say is what you do here today affects the whole Gulf Coast. It affects Berwick. It affects Morgan City. It affects everything along the coast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Texas, everybody will be affected by this. Because once you open up this can of worms, it's gone. You'll never close the box. And as a council person, and I heard your attorneys up here, and they want to delay, they want to, you know, tell you that you might be breaking the law. First off, I would want to know, if I remember right, the last time, this thing was delayed once before, 6 or 8 months ago, because I was here the last time and spoke to you. And if you drop the lawsuit, number one, can it ever be brought back if you decided that that was necessary? And if I remember correctly, a bunch of you had gotten reelected in first terms. I mean, I gotten elected for the first time, or several of you, or 4 or 5 of you, or there was some number, and that's kind of what started this deal. And I don't know that you can be held responsible for the past council's actions. Those are some questions that you might want to ask your attorneys. But from this point forward, I think if you drop the lawsuit, that's going to take the wind out of the sails in the other couple of lawsuits that are going on. And basically, there's 2 options here. And the other 2 guys that were up here, the first guy kind of alluded to it. You really got 2 choices. You go ahead with the lawsuit. You make a handful of lawyers wealthy beyond their dreams, and you kill the oil industry. Not in this parish, the whole Gulf Coast. Because once you become hostile to the oil companies, they start looking for other means. So I just felt it was important enough for the rest of the parish, rest of the state, for me to come here today and express to you that I'm in opposition, much like pretty much everybody else here is in opposition to this lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lenny Jordan. I live on Sunflower Road in Belle-Chasse, Louisiana. I'm the owner of LA Marine, which is an inland marine service company. I've been in business for 12 years and depend on inland drilling and work with rigs in Plaquemines Parish. I have worked with the same rig for over the past 8 years, until recently when my boat was released and replaced with an out-of-town vessel. My family, along with my employees and their families, absolutely depend on inland oil production and the continued support of oil companies who invest in our parish. About a year ago, the last time it was brought up at the council meeting in Belle-Chasse, the Madeirs and the Scobells spoke about, issues concerning this lawsuit. Their words really resonated with me and stuck, because I know that they are educated in this field and have a lot of experience. I respect for what they have done and what they have accomplished in their business that spanned over several generations. While I'm the first generation of my company, I dream of working with my children and grandchildren in this industry in our parish. I want to continue my company's growth here, and I hope in the future my family will be able to say they are involved in a business that also spans generations. I was born and raised here, and I want to see this parish grow. This lawsuit discourages present and future investors that can provide benefits and growth to our parish. Our parish is made to prosper by promoting oil industry that feeds the majority of our citizens. This industry is facing tough times, and we do not need to complicate the falling oil prices by suing the companies who are still working our waters. This lawsuit is a slap in the face to the local people who work hard to support our parish. I personally feel I personally feel the effects of this today. There are jobs out there, but they're going to out-of-parish contractors who do not know our waters or care like we do about our parish. I beg of you to support Councilman Burt by stopping this lawsuit. His legislation will allow us to reopen the doors of communications with oil companies, and I'm confident that we can reach a solution to continue the growth of the industry in our parish. Thank you for all consideration.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Troy Scobell. I'm a current business owner in Plaquemines Parish, 138 Keating Drive in Belle Chase. Basically, my responsibilities day to day are run a family business. I have 5 sisters and 1 brother, and 2 of my sisters and 1 of my brothers and myself, we run the company every day. And I could say it's been a blessing growing up in this parish. What I like to do today is just basically kind of take a step back and look at what's going on. This is a big responsibility that y'all all have. We've made our mark in this parish for going on 4 generations now. And I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of good things that come out of oil and gas. And unfortunately right now, the opposition is painting a different picture. But there's definitely a lot of positive things that have happened in not only my business, my family, but the other families that work for us. We employ about 50 employees, between 50 and 60 employees. And what I'd like y'all to do today is just basically think and support the position that this is not good for this parish. This is going to cut off the lifeline, the bloodline of this parish. It doesn't mean that we don't have other industry that supports our parish. We are wide and diverse, and we're talented and skilled. Some of us have been here for a long time. Some of us has just been here for a decade or less. But what I can say is, certainly, you don't want to cut off the hand that feeds you. And this opportunity here is, this is just looking for money. I haven't heard one solution that the opposition has brought up besides money. Money does not solve problems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is J.P. Solis. I live at 1810 West First Street, but I'm born and raised in Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Right now, Plaquemines Parish has the illusion that we are pretty much closing the door, shutting down everything. We are losing the battle every day to Fouchon. Recently, one of the last deep water platforms to be serviced out of Plaquemines Parish was moved to Fouchon. So it is imperative that we come together and come up with a solution to this, because the work is leaving the parish. And it's a lot of other combination of things that does that. But we deal with the people in the oil and gas industry every day. My job is sales. I work for an environmental contractor. I deal with these guys on a daily, and when you go in these guys' office, they're like, man, what's going on down there? And I'm like, man, I read the lawsuit, and I don't think that's the answer. I think there's other ways of doing things. But to say that nothing has been cleaned up around here, that's not true. I've been here 11 years, and I worked on several projects, remediation projects in Plaquemines Parish, where companies have gone and cleaned up these areas. So I think y'all need to go back and do your research and figure out, because to say that the companies are not doing anything, that's false. You can go to them, and I have another contractor that's a competitor of mine, and several remediation projects have gone on and have been completed in Plaquemines Parish. So to say that nothing is being done, that's a false statement. Remediation projects have been, and they have other projects being, I'm sorry, I'm real nervous. It's very, very emotional, I'm sorry. But there are projects that have been done and have been completed in Plaquemines Parish. So I would hope y'all consider what y'all gonna do, and maybe let's form a council after this and come together. We have the contacts with the oil and gas industry. These lawyers do not have, the only contacts they have are with the lawyers. Lawyers talk to lawyers. We talk to the oil and gas industry. So I hope y'all will reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Council Chair, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Robert Thomas. I live on Highway 11 in Buras. I'm the Executive Director of the Plaquemines Association of Business and Industry. And please permit me to read this following statement. The decision before you today is to consider alternatives rather than continue a lawsuit against an entire industry so vital to our parish, which could mean millions of dollars to our parish, years to litigate, and the loss of local jobs to our residents. Plaquemines Parish filed lawsuits against 68 oil companies which have worked in the past or are currently working in Plaquemines Parish. The suit seeks to have the companies pay to fix the damages they allegedly caused. The companies involved in the lawsuit were issued permits by the parish and the state to drill their wells and dig the canals needed to service these wells. The lawsuits allege the state and parish permits required by the companies to restore the coast on the way they restore the coast back to the way they found it, and the companies did not comply with the permits, allegedly. Unfortunately, for years, our parish and state government did not follow up in a timely manner to ensure the companies abided to the requirements of their permits. The POBI Board is on record that coastal restoration is of paramount concern, and any company, energy or not, damaging our coast should be responsible for its repair. But we also believe the approach should first be an attempt at a compromise resolution. The royalties and tax revenues received from the companies involved in the oil and gas industry account for over 2/3 of our parish government budget and a significant portion of the budgets of our other taxing bodies. We do not believe it's wise to capriciously bite the hand that feeds you without first working on a compromise. The oil companies and the people that work for them live in our parish and support many of our local businesses. We realize that these companies won't just pick up and leave, but given a choice to do business in a place that where they're not being sued, the decision becomes a lot more clear to them. Is our parish government jeopardizing opportunities for the next generation with this lawsuit? Today you have an opportunity to insist on negotiations with the oil companies on an individual basis rather than filing suit against an entire industry, again, so vital to our parish. By adopting this resolution today, it also sends a message that Plaquemines Parish is a good and fair place to do business. I urge the council to support adopting this resolution today and demand negotiations begin immediately with those companies suspected of violations. Thank you very much.
Council, my name is Michael Van Haverbeck. I live in Belle Chase, also the owner of Southland Rental Tools. My father started our business in Plaquemines Parish in 1981, just in time for the last, or one of the many, busts that happened in the oil field. The good news is we were able to ride the lows and come back and come forward. Unfortunately, at this time, the lows keep getting lower. A litigious environment is not a good place to do business. Our major oil companies have told us that. As you can see by the people behind me in this room, most of us, we're not big oil, we're little oil. Plaquemines Parish is built on little oil. We're built by the independent guys who are out there working these old fields, putting our employees to work, bringing home wages and letting them earn a living and establishing their roots and taking care of everything that they hold dear. Unfortunately, the environment that is created by these lawsuits isn't allowing that to happen. Investment potential is continually going down. We see it on a day-to-day basis. We've heard it from our customers and from our competitors, believe it or not. I ask you, please, reconsider. Take these lawsuits off the shelf. Let's get into an area of compromise. Let's bring everyone to the table. Big Oil has been a very big benefactor in this parish, and they've also given back in many, many ways. Project after project has been done to help restore the coast, build artificial reefs, protect islands, barrier islands, the whole nine. The list can go on and on. So today I ask you, in an environment where lawsuits doesn't exist, we get a lot accomplished. Please, let's go back to it. Thank you.
My name is James Gio. I'm born and raised in St. Bernard Parish, moved here after BP. I live at 29271 Highway 11, Port Sulphur. I've worked for 3 different companies in the environmental cleanup business. Just like JP said, I've worked on several jobs that have taken and cleaned up our coastal lines and restoration. I know of 3 companies, I'm not going to mention any names, that are currently taking care of old problems that are not even their problems, but because they're there, they are taking care of their problems. If this lawsuit happens, these companies are going to pick up and leave and go where somebody's not going to sue them, and that's going to put us all out of jobs. Like I said, I've worked for 3 different companies. I'm now with a new company, Gibson Services, that is currently trying to build in this parish. He's been around for the last 15 years, but trying to build a new branch, and if these companies leave, we won't be able to rebuild this company. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Lexus. I live at 2774 Highway 23 South of Port Sulphur, Louisiana. I started out as a commercial fisherman. I graduated from Port Sulphur High School. I've been here all my life, all my life. I have 24 employees, and I'm gonna have to lay 6 more employees off because 2 of the boats that work in the oil field are tied up right now. They're tied up. Why? Because every time I take a trip to Houston, I go to Mobile, I go to Lafayette, I go to Cameron, the first thing they tell me, got a lawsuit. We really don't want to do business. How can I do business when they don't want to do business? When we're suing them? It's ridiculous. Okay? I donate to every little Bantam League football team they have in this parish on the lower end, the high school games, everything. I can't afford to do it if I don't have a job, if my people don't have jobs. Okay? Think about it. They're not just hurting me. I can pick up and move. My boats can travel everywhere. But the employees, the people that live here, can't. And we need to actually protect them. It's all about protecting the people. Well, let's protect them. That's all I have to say.
Good afternoon. Arthur Giles. I work for Fabcon. I wasn't born here, but I've been here for 59 years, okay? My brother and I started Fabcon in the mid-'80s. I worked with Chevron in West Bay before we opened up and after. And I was there on cleaning pits. They spent millions. I thought it was crazy to go in there and dig all this mud and stuff up, but you know, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not up here to threaten or scare anyone, I'm just saying that I can relate, same what Mike just said, you know, boats are tied up. I don't know who's suing who, why are we suing, what's right or wrong. Because I think this was, you know, just stuck on us with no one knowing. The last council voted this thing, then I know just 2 of you were there. I don't understand why it wasn't put maybe to a parish-wide vote. Let everybody vote that's going to be suffering from this. If we do suffer, you know, I don't have a law degree, and I don't know what the answer is, but I know we're losing work, not only because of this suit. The suit is, but you know, $40 oil. I know the council is having to cut budgets, you know, for the income. That's not only for the lawsuit, but it's the $40 oil, which is out of our control. Lord knows we need some help other places in this country. But I just hope that y'all can think about what's happening here. I was told at the last meeting that I went to that the attorneys put on that there was not going to be any charges if the suit was dismissed. Maybe I misunderstood. What I heard today wasn't what I heard a couple of months ago. You know, guys, so, you know, we gotta work together and try to figure this out, okay? Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Bill Farmer. I live Beers River Road. I have a small welding shop in Bouville, Louisiana that my wife and I started 20 years ago. At the time, work was good. Business was good. Oil companies was down there. Since this lawsuit, we have seen a decrease in the amount of work that we do work for. My Darren Sons, Mike Alexis, we work for all those people. When those people don't work, we don't work. Now, you can do what you want, but you're biting the hand that feeds you with this lawsuit against the oil companies. You're down on revenue. Where'd you get your revenue at? From the oil companies. Look, most of these people here, they're against it. They're not for this lawsuit. Why do you think they're all here? If y'all don't stop this lawsuit, the lower end of the parish is gone. You're going to have what you want, a sportsman paradise. Because there's not going to be no oil companies. Not going to be no boat companies. You're going to have your sports fishermen down there and your commercial fishermen. And you see Tiger Pass, go ahead and deepen it. Baptist Glen, deepen it. You're making an easier way for the boats from Fouchon to get through to the oil on the East Coast instead of our people down at Venice Port. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in opposition?
Yes, sir. My name is Bobby Giles with Fabcon, 39804 Highway 23, Boothville, Louisiana. There's not much I can say that these guys haven't said already. Besides, if you continue with this lawsuit, you're going to lose a lot of local jobs, along with a lot of local-made companies, like my father's company that started in the 80s. And you're going to lose a lot of local donations. A lot of local money is going to be gone. I don't know how the parish will run after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in opposition of the lawsuit?
Good evening. I'm Earl Armstrong. I grew up in Plaquemine Parish. I grew up at Powdertown. I was there for 30 years. Moved to Boothville and been there for 40 years. And I think the worst thing that's happened with this lawsuit is we walked up to the oil companies and slapped them in the face and said, we're going to sue you. Nobody come to the table to really find out what they really can do for everybody to get together and help all these people make a living. As of right now, I mean, I'm dead against this lawsuit. I just think there's more to it that can be brought up to the table to try to help Plaquemine Parish in a whole. We're in a mess right now as far as with coastal erosion. They talking about cutting us off on the lower end. If we get cut off on the lower end, all it is another step to catch the next one up. And we slowly going to be washed away. I think if people could go to the oil companies, talk to them, tell them, we would like some help. I don't believe that it should be just a lawsuit, sue them, and you just have to eat this lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you. We're still working on the opposition. Anyone else in opposition to the lawsuit?
My name is Jeffrey Ragus Jr. I live at 505 East 2nd Street, Belchase, Louisiana. I work for J. Ragus Contractors. I'm also on the Parish Executive Committee for the Libertarian Party, Plaquemines Parish. Kind of nervous, too. State has assessors, lease assessors that go out to the wells. Coast Guard has people that go inspect platforms. The parish doesn't have anybody going out there assessing permits. All you're going by is satellite imagery over the years. I mean, that's not really a lot of evidence to sue somebody on. It's going to hurt the parish in the end. It really is. Companies won't leave, but they won't expand. The construction department survives on companies expanding. I mean, why would they want to get a permit in a place that's going to possibly sue them further down the line. I mean, that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Ann Bonvillian. I own a tugboat company. I own 4 tugs. I've been in business since 1995, and all my boats are tied up. And I'm asking y'all to kill this lawsuit, or we're going to kill the parish. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Emmett Scobell. I live in Belchase, born and raised in Buras. Between my father and my children working for me, we're in business since early 50s. So you're looking at about 65 years. A lot of things been said here today. I don't have to repeat most of it. But a couple of things that come to my attention with this going on is, well, one thing, you need a friendly environment. And when there's a suit going on, nobody wants to come and work and have somebody breathing down their neck with feeling that they're being watched too close. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but it's not a friendly environment to work. I think we need a friendly environment to bring business down here. Another thing that came to mind while this was going on, it seems like the attorneys kind of pressuring y'all. They trying to put you on the spot. They trying to make you feel guilty if you do something wrong and vote this out today. You get 50 attorneys here, you split them up 25-25. One's going to say one thing, one's going to say the other thing. And it's not always correct. Not when you got that many people. It's just like our Congress for the United States. But anyway, I think y'all shouldn't have pressure on you to make a decision today. And they said, well, about an executive session and get the people here. Well, hell, this is the people. How many more people you want here? But I think keep this in mind. Don't feel threatened to make the decisions you want. And think about, we need a friendly environment for work down here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Solar, and I'm not from Plaquemines Parish. I'm from Morgan City. I was born in Morgan City 73 years ago. And I remember Morgan City before the oil industry grew larger than the shrimping industry. We were just a simple little poor, broke town. And the oil companies that are being vilified here today came in and they built our economies all across South Louisiana. The attorneys who seem to be trying to intimidate or bully, I just don't understand why someone would come in and threaten you people if you feel that you need to vote in a certain way. I am pro-oil. I have worked in the oil industry for about 50 years, and it has never hurt me. I worked for Texaco when we had 70,000 employees, and when we had a large presence of the big, hateful oil companies here, everybody was doing good. The restaurants, the people who built houses, those who sold insurance, the car sales people. We were doing real well. And anything we do to hurt the people that are coming in, they're making money, absolutely. They're not going to come if they don't make money. But when we slap the face of those people who have caused our lives to be better over these years, I think it's a sad, sad mistake. And as an old man, I'd say don't be intimidated, don't be bullied. Do what you feel in your heart, regardless of what that is. Do what you feel in your heart is right. And thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. At this time, if there's no more questions on the opposition, I would like to take this vote forward. Comments are closed. I'd like to take a verbal roll call on this vote.
Comments are closed, you said?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I'd like to make a comment. I'm Joel Tum with Abe's Boat Rental. My father began his company here for the last 30 years. You know, he's been working in the oil field. And, you know, I apologize walking up here a little late, sir, but I just wanted to put a few words in because I've been working for the oil field my whole life. And everyone that has gone to Buras High School that I grew up with, they also work in the oil field. You know, and they all work from Plaquemines Parish. And I'm just calling to ask y'all to hear us, you know, and please, you know, do away with this lawsuit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more rebuttals, so floor is closed. Anything from the table?
Yeah, I want to make a statement.
Yes. Councilmember Lapine.
Bear with me because I wrote a bunch of notes down because I've heard all your concerns, your questions, and this is my 5th year sitting on the council, and I'm not going to speak with for Mr. Edgecombe, but I was part of the original council that brought this legislation forward. And when I did, the previous council members asked me to support this for my southern, and I hate to use that word down the road, but I want to try to say we're down the road, but I guess I hate to use that terminology, but I'm going to say my southern end friends. Okay, my southern, because I represent District 3, which is Upper Plaquemines. If some of you don't know, it's in the heart of Belchase. So when they came to me, they asked me, would I support them? And I said, guys, if this is affecting your environment, and I took an oath of office to say, I protect everyone in Plaquemines Parish, not just District 3, but everyone. So if this is what you need, I will stand with you. So we got into the guts and nuts and bolts of the suit, and I could see the violations. I could see what was happening through these people's eyes. And fast forward to today, and again, let me make my point. I am by oath here to protect anyone that is being, or any part of the environment that's being destroyed. That is my job. I do that with great pride. So now I'm caught in the middle of saying, do I protect people because I think it's the right thing to do, or do I listen to the people who have come, who have texted me, have emailed me, have phoned, and a lot of you I see out in the audience today that I've sat down face to face with you, and I heard your cries. I've heard your I'm trying to think of a good word. I heard of your concerns. I've heard everything that you brought to the table. And it's hard for me to make a decision when I don't have a mechanism in place to regulate what's going on. A couple of you have made a few points. If I go forward with this suit or go past with this suit or agree to it, how, if I get a judgment or a settlement, how do I regulate from this day forward? With budget constraints, I can't make a department that has inspectors in it. So, and the state's not going to take care of us. The state's not, and if they do, they're going to take the money. So I got to find that happy medium. So I understand the suit. I truly do. I do believe people should pay for damages, but at what cost? At what cost of suffering the lower end? I'm sorry, southern end, my down the road friends, if you like to be called that. So today, I took it to heart, and I'm sticking with you. I've heard you. I've understood you, and I will be in favor of dismissing this suit today. You know, many a times we pick this up and we make life decisions. So today I'm going to make a good decision for the lower end.
Let me say something.
Councilmember Juneau.
Yes, sir. I thank all of y'all for coming here. When I ran for election, I was against the lawsuit, and I still am. I'm for y'all 100%.
Anybody else? I'd just like to wrap it up real quick. Thank you all for coming and speaking today.
Yes, I need to say something.
I'm sorry.
I've already been ignored once today. I'm sorry. Mr. Burt. Okay. Here it goes. I've met with a lot of you guys within the last couple of weeks. I'm looking at a lot of folks out there that I've met with. And my position is there's a good argument on both sides. There's argument on both sides of it. Okay? When I listened to Mr. Noty and then I listened to another gentleman at that call, you know, I'm inclined to, at one point, I say, well, his argument makes sense. Then when I hear the other side of the argument, that argument also makes sense. You know, but so this morning when I first got up this morning, I had a clear thought, clear idea of just where I was with this lawsuit, where I would be voting today. I had no qualms about where would my vote be. After listening to the arguments here today, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure where I am on the lawsuits, okay? But what comes to mind is that in all of the discussion that has been made here today, there has not been one mention of where this lawsuit was conceived. And no, in my mind, it was not conceived with the attorneys. It was conceived with the former administration and former counsel. This was drawn into my lap. Audrey Trufant Salvant, I'm speaking personally, did nothing to deserve to have to deal with the issue that we have having to deal with today. Same thing goes for the budget. This was thrown into this current council lap. Okay, you talk about fiduciary duties. The previous council, they ran for that from theirs. They ran from it. They walked out of the door, not balancing the budget. Again, what they did, they drew up a lawsuit and they threw it back for the next council, the incoming council, to have to deal with. But no one is trying to address that. What they do is they jump on board, trying to make campaign contribution to the former administration, making contribution to the former administration who conceived this lawsuit. And this is where I have problems. This is where I have problems. So I want you guys to know I'm voting my conscience here today, and I hear everything that's being said out there, and don't think I didn't hear every one of you. I hear every one of you. But again, analogy that I'm going to give that's comparable to this lawsuit is as a mother. I'm at home with my son, and he invites his 3 friends over. My favorite vase is on the cabinet. All I hear is a noise in the living room where the kids are playing. I go in there, my vase is broken. I look around, everybody is pointing fingers at each other. I wasn't in the room. I don't know who broke the vase. But final analysis, the vase is broken. And I think we all can concur that our coast is broken. Now, who's at fault? I can't say. But I have a duty to do today. I have a duty to do today. And I'm going to vote my conscience. And I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ms.
I
Salvant.
would like to speak.
I would like to thank everyone for coming out today. In regards to this matter, it's very near and dear to my heart. As Ms. Trufant said, this is something that we was dealt, but we had the opportunity today to right a wrong. We were elected to represent our people. And yes, our coast is damaged, as Ms. Trufant said, but none of us in this room knows who caused that damage. So with that being said, I just want to thank everyone for coming out, speaking for the suit as well as against the suit. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it is our duty to do what is right for the people and for Plaquemines Parish.
Thank you. Anyone else from the table?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd like to thank Mr. Lapine for the comments he made. I couldn't have said any better for us down the road people. And, like Nicole said, and so Ms. Audrey, we did take an oath. And we have to do what we think is right for the parish of Plaquemines.
Any more comments from the table? I'll close up real quick. Once again, thank everyone for attending today. Those that were for the lawsuit, those that spoke against it. Like many have said, we have a duty to protect the parish, and likewise, I'm going to make the right decision. And if you remember, my opening remarks was the courage to know right from wrong and to do that of which is right. And at this time, I would like to ask for a verbal roll call vote. Just for clarification, a yes vote is to dismiss the lawsuit, and a no vote is to move forward with the lawsuit.
Say that again.
A yes vote is to dismiss the lawsuit, and a no vote is to move forward with the lawsuit.
Yes, it's for the resolution.
Correct.
You ready?
Yes.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
Present, not voting.
Councilmember Black.
I will be abstaining as well, and let me just apologize to my constituents for not having a voice for you guys at the table today. But as you most of you know, I am employed by an oil company who is specifically named in the suit, and I'm prohibited from commenting or voting on this matter. So I apologize, and I will be abstaining.
Councilmember Lapine.
Yes.
Councilmember Giano.
Yes.
Councilmember Burt.
Yes.
Councilmember Salvant.
No.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Yes.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
I'd just like to once again thank everyone for voting their conscience. Today's a great day in Plaquemines Parish, and as some people said earlier, this is not over. And thank you all for being here. And at this time, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess. Before we we'll get a formal vote reread.
The resolution passes 5-1 to 3 with Councilmember Bartholomew present not voting, Councilmember Black abstaining, and Councilmember Roussel absent.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take a 5-minute recess. 2:56. At this time, I'd like to move to item 2, bids and advertisements.
Good afternoon. I'm Brenda Staniford, the Plaquemines Parish Purchasing Agent. I have 3 resolutions this afternoon. The first one is a resolution authorizing acceptance of bids for furnishing Delgard insecticide in bulk for a period of 1 year for use by the Mosquito Control Department, where after due advertisements, bids were received October 27th from ADAPCO of Sanford, Florida only. It is my recommendation that we accept the only bid of ADAPCO.
If there's no objection from the table, could we take these in globo?
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, let's do them all in conjunction, if you don't mind.
Second one is I have a resolution authorizing the acceptance for furnishing River Parish River Pump Sand for parish-wide use. After due advertisements, bids were received October 13th from the following: Leon DePlessis of Belchase, Naren Enterprises of Buras, Louisiana, Save Trucking out of Metairie, Louisiana. After speaking to administration and legal, it is my recommendation that we accept the bid of Save Trucking from furnishing the river pump sand. I'm sorry. And then my third one is...
Wait, I want to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Where are they located?
Out of Metairie.
So there was 2 from Plaquemines and 1 from Metairie.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Juneau, I asked that same question. We had 2 local businesses that submitted bids, one outside and one outside of the parish. And, bid laws prevented them, even though they were a little bit more expensive. But if you take in account travel time to Metairie, employee labor, I think the cost itself probably would have been cheaper, but I think we're kind of bound by the state bid
We are
laws.
bonded by law. If we do the delivery, they're much cheaper. So my recommendation, I guess, would be to have the sand delivered instead of us go get it ourselves. My third resolution is a resolution for the acceptance of furnishing chemicals for a period of 1 year for use by the Water and Sewer Department, where after advertised bids were received October 27th from the following: Brentag Southwest out of Lancaster, Texas, DPC Enterprises out of Reserve, Louisiana, GEC Chemicals out of Arkansas, Harcos Chemicals out of St. Gabriel, Polydon out of Georgia, Thorn, Musson, and Bellman out of Zachary, Louisiana, and Univar out of Kent, Washington. Mr. Robert Morgan, Superintendent of Severn Trent, recommends the acceptance of the low bid for Brentag, the low bid of DPC, the low bid of Harcos Chemicals, and the low bid of Polydon for the items that are detailed within.
I will offer those bids and ask for a second. Second by Councilmember Williams. Any comments or questions from the table, from the audience? The machine is open. That ordinance is adopted 8-0.
Thank you.
At this time, it's been asked to move to item 6M. We have a gentleman here that'd like to speak on behalf of 6M.
A resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of not to exceed $13 million of revenue fund refunding bonds, Series 2015 of the Parish of Plaquemine, State of Louisiana, prescribing the form, terms, and conditions of such bonds and providing for the payment thereof, providing for the sale of such bonds, authorizing an agreement with the paying agent, and providing other matters in connection therewith.
On behalf of Councilmember Roussel, Councilmember Salvant will handle his legislation for today.
Yes. I'm going to offer with changes, and the changes are going to be passed out.
Councilmember Trufant Salvant offers with changes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bartholomew. Ms. Salvant.
Yes, and we're going to refer to Mr. Hugh Morton to explain the changes.
Yes, sir. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hugh Martin with the firm of Fuller Udell. We're serving as your bond counsel in connection with the refunding of 2 issues of bonds, sales tax bonds. One issue having been issued in 2007 and the other in 2008. Interest rates since that time have decreased, and we're near enough to your call period to make it economical to refund these bonds and obtain a lower interest rate on your debt. Transaction works very much like would occur if you were refinancing the mortgage on your home, where you get a cheaper loan from the bank, make a loan to borrow the money to pay off the old mortgage, and then you wind up with the new mortgage at a lower interest rate. The resolution would provide for the issuance of the bonds not to exceed $13 million. The underwriters have been in the market, and they have identified that instead of refunding all of the bonds, because some of the interest rates, there were not enough savings on some maturities, that the refunding be set at $8,990,000. The old bonds, there were two issues. The 2007 bonds bear interest rate beginning from 4.4% to 4.75%. While this rate is not yet, new rate is not yet firmed up, it's expected to be approximately 2.72%. The other issue, the 2008 bonds, bears interest rates from 5% to 5.5%, and that rate also is expected to be about 2.72%. The savings that can be realized if this transaction is successfully completed will be, if you pardon me 1 minute, the actual reduction in interest rates would be about $961,000. The present value of that amount, because some of the savings occur in the future and you don't have use of that money, it's a present value calculation, would make the value actually worth $830,000. But that would be money saved by the parish that's currently being paid from your sales tax receipts to pay debt service that now will be able to be budgeted in future years if this is successful. So this resolution then would set the terms of the agreement and authorize the parish president to execute a bond purchase contract if these terms are met. And if any more detail you would like, I can give you more detail. I know it's a long meeting. Any questions?
Any comments or questions from the table, from the audience, from the administration?
We appreciate Mr. Martin and what he's been able to accomplish for the parish with this renewal.
Thank you. No more questions. Machine is open. And the ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you.
We'll revert back to item 4, building permits. And if there's no objection from the table, I'd like to take the construction permits in Globo. Items 4A1 through 4A8. Any objection from the table?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you, we can do 1. No, I'm trying to see what we can take out of here. Yeah, 2 and 3's not, but you can go ahead and put them together. That's fine. Yeah, just do them together, that's fine.
So what are we doing?
We're just going to take 4A1 through 4A8 in Globo, if there's no objection.
Okay.
4A1, Hellas Oil and Gas Company, LLC, application number 2015-689, dated August 3, 2015, to install pile clusters, barge mooring, drill the SL 21434 well number 2, and install wellhead protector, West Black Bay Field, Councilmember Bartholomew. Number 2, Belle Chase Marine Transport, LLC, application number 2015-837, dated October 1, 2015, to construct new floating dock and walkway on Batcher behind 14573 Highway 23, Naomi, Councilmember Edgecombe. Number 3, Ardeman and Associates, Inc., application number 2015-849, dated October 8, 2015, to drill 1 soil boring, Carlisle Subdivision, Braithwaite, Councilmember Bartholomew. Number 4, Ardeman and Associates, Inc., application number 2015-850, dated October 8, 2015, to drill 1 soil boring, Alliance Substation, Belle Chase, Councilmember Trufant Salvant. Number 5, Enterprise Products Operating LP, application number 2015-882, dated October 21st, 2015, to relocate two 10-inch pipelines, remove existing valve site, and construct a 30-foot by 30-foot valve site due to levee construction. Belle Chase Area Councilmember Roussel and Burt. Number 6, Eustis Engineering, application number 2015-867, dated October 14th, 2015, to drill 3 soil borings, perform 1 CPT and 1 vein shear test, Oakville area, Councilmember Burt. Number 7, Castex Energy, Inc., application number 2015-887, dated October 21st, 2015, to install pile clusters, jack-up rig, and drill the SL12047 well, South Pass Block 42, Councilmember Williams. Number 8, Tennessee Gas Pipeline, application number 2015-904, dated October 28, 2015, for anomaly repair on existing 36-inch TGP pipeline, Bay Batiste area, Councilmember Edgecombe.
Mr. Chairman, before you move, I'd like to get a clearance on number 3, what is for? Anybody know? Yeah. Bryant. Try it.
Yes, sir. The company explained that it was just a sawborn around the energy site for expansion, future expansion if they
Energy
must.
to do with expansion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the table? So items 4A1 through 8 will be taken in globo. I will offer and ask for a second.
A second.
Second by Councilmember Edgecombe. Any comments or questions? Machine is open. The permits pass 7-0, 1 abstention. It's my first time, guys. We'll move to item 4B.
Henry and Juanita Mardo, new modular residence in a floodplain, 720 Martin Lane, Port Sulphur.
Councilmember Salvant.
Offer as read.
Ms. Salvant offers, is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Any comments or questions from the table? The audience, administration? Machine is open. Permit is granted 8-0. We'll move to item 4C.
B&B Partners LLC, new 44-bay boat shed in a floodplain, 165 Marina Road, Myrtle Grove.
Councilmember Salvant.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think anything has changed with this permit, so I'm going to suggest to the permit department that they perhaps or someone, administration, call a meeting with the Corps of Engineers and all parties involved so we can get some resolution to this, because it keep coming up on the agenda and it's without any answers. So let's put this just to rest. Let's call a meeting, get the administration to do a meeting with the Corps and perhaps everybody involved.
Okay, Councilmember Truvant, you want to defer?
So I'll defer.
Item C will be deferred. Let's revert back to item 3, beer and liquor license. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Have none.
Councilmember Black. I have none.
I have a special permit. Keenan Alexis is requested a special event temporary beer permit to a benefit for Douglas Alexis Jr. to be held at Diamond Park on November 21st, 2015 from 11 a.m. to 5. And her address is P.O. Box 981, Port South, Louisiana. Thank you.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I have one. Yaz Station LLC is requesting an alcoholic beverage permit to sell Class B packaged liquor at Express Food and Fuel, 14715, Highway 23, Belchase.
I have none. I have none.
There's no objection, we'll take these
Yes, sir.
beer and liquor license in Globo.
I'll offer.
Any comments or questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Edgecombe offers, there's a second. Second by Councilmember Juneau. Machine is open.
He's eating his candy.
Beer and liquor license are approved 8-0. Before we move forward in the agenda, if we could kind of run through the items and pull out the withdrawals and deferrals. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Have none.
Councilmember Black.
Yeah, I'm going to defer 6A7, 6BH, 6BM. I'm sorry, that's not mine. 6BM is not mine. 7B7. Seven B, yeah, 7. B is in Bravo, 7.
Councilmember Lapine.
I have none.
Councilmember Juneau.
I have none.
I have a couple. Actually, I have 3. I'm going to defer 6A3, 7B3, 6N, 6O. And that is it. Councilmember Trufant.
You said 7 what?
I have none.
7B3?
7B3. Okay.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
I'm good, sir.
Councilmember Williams. So here are the following deferrals. 6A7,
683 too, huh?
Yeah, they're not in order.
oh, they're not in order.
Oh, okay, I thought you were doing all this. Okay.
6H, 6I, 6J, 6K, 7B7, 6A3, 7B3, 6N, and 6O.
Figure it out when we get to them.
Talk too fast. At this time, we'll move to item 5, introductions of ordinances and resolutions. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Yes.
A resolution offered by the council, a resolution authorizing 2015 council chairman Benedict to open the January 14th meeting, Plaquemine Parish Council, otherwise to provide respect thereto.
Mike John.
A resolution to elect chairman of Plaquemine Parish Council for 1 year, 2016, to provide with respect otherwise. A resolution for vice chairman of Plaquemine Parish Council for the year 2000 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution appointing the members of the Audit Committee of Plaquemine Parish Council 2016 pursuant to Section 7-.08 Act of Article 7 of the Charter for self-governing in Plaquemine Parish, Louisiana, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that's it for now.
Councilmember Black.
A resolution assigning office space in the Belchase Government Complex on F. Edward Abear Boulevard, Building 100, Belchase, Louisiana, to the Parish Buildings Department and the Parish Library Administration Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all.
Councilmember Lapine.
I have one, excuse me, an ordinance authorizing the parish president to utilize cost savings realized from engineering and design activities from Bud Mat, West Bay Ridge, and Marsh Creation Project to continue with permitting, surveying, geotechnical, and engineering and design activities from Bud Mat, Tiger Pass / Spanish Ridge, and Marsh Creation Project, and to utilize the cost savings realized from construction activities for the Bud Mat, West Bay Ridge, and Marsh Creation Project to formally enter into a cost agreement or contracts with the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, or CPRA, to be utilized to contribute to or satisfy the non-federal sponsor cost share responsibility for the Tiger Pass, Spanish Pass Ridge, and Marsh Creation Project. Thank you. That's it.
Councilmember Juneau.
Yes, I have four. An ordinance to amend the 2015 operating revenue budget, various funds, various departments, various line items, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2015 operating expenditure budget, various funds, various departments, various line items, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2015 five-year capital improvement plan, various projects, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution to provide employees group coverages consisting of health, dental, vision, and life for the policy period January 1st, 2016 through January 31st, 2016, or on an employee contributing basis of 72 to 28%, and otherwise to provide respect thereto.
I have a few. A resolution to elect the chairman of the Plaquemines Parish Council for the year 2016 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution to elect the vice chairman of the Plaquemines Parish Council for the year of 2016 and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution appointing the members of the Audit Committee of the Plaquemines Parish Council for 2016 pertinent to Section 7.08 of Article 7 of the Charter for Local Self-Government, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the five-year capital improvements plan, drainage Jesuit Bend project, and the renovation improvements Ollie Pump Station project, and the 2015 General Fund operating expenditure budget, Plaquemines Parish Council District 6 Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2015 General Fund operating revenue and expenditure budgets, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the parish president, Amos Cormier Jr., to enter into a settlement agreement between the Plaquemines Parish government and Irene Bro individually as the surviving spouse of and on behalf of the estate of Elwood Bro Jr. and on behalf of her minor children, Elwood James Bro III, Tabitha Caroline Bro, and Candace Mary Bro. Progressive Insurance Company, Elite Portable Restrooms / Elite Portable Restrooms and Showers, Inc., Shamrock Shen, in which the Plaquemines Parish government will receive $13,000 in full and final settlement of its claim for subrogation, reimbursement against aforementioned parties in an action brought in the 25th JDC of Plaquemines Parish under docket number 61-293, Division A. An ordinance amending and as amended readopting and reenacting Rules 4A, 5, and 6 of Chapter 2 of Section 2-18 of the Code of Ordinances for Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, to reestablish the offices of Port Chairperson, Port Vice Chairperson, the Port Committee, and the offices of Committee Chairperson and Vice Chairman, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That is all. Councilmember Salvant.
Yes, I have one, sir. A resolution of the Parish of Plaquemines, State of Louisiana, the issuer, recognizing the final form and execution of the bond purchase agreement in connection with the issuance and sale of revenue refunding bond, Series 2015 of the issuer. That's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
I have none.
This time we'll move to item 6A1. I'm sorry. We'll move to 7B1.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 14-4 to provide a waiver of the restriction on the placement of trailers, mobile homes, and manufactured mobile homes in certain residentially zoned areas of Plaquemines Parish, specifically District 7, 8, and 9, from West Point, Lahash south, except Citrus City subdivision and Burris, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Everybody has a change.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Yes, and Mr. Burt, this is, well, pretty much what it says. This is the hearing part, if anybody's here for it or
Do we
against it.
have anyone here to speak on behalf of the ordinance that Mr. Edgecombe has on the table?
683.
With that, we'll move back to 6A1.
An ordinance to amend ordinance number 14-4 to provide a waiver of the restriction on the placement of trailers, mobile homes, and manufactured homes in certain residentially zoned areas of Plaquemines Parish, specifically Districts 7, 8, and 9, from West Point and Lahash south, except Citrus City subdivision and Burris, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Yes, our offer with changes. I believe everybody should have received the changes on the emails. Everybody received them?
I have them.
Okay, I'll read them out. There's only 3 of them that was added to the existing. On line 50 through 52, we're adding the applicant must make the application by June 1st, 2017. On line 59, they must own the property and the trailer, mobile home, or manufactured home. On line 61, they must use the trailer, mobile home, or manufactured home as his primary residence and shall not rent or lease the home. That's all the changes, sir.
Mr. Edgecombe offers with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Williams. Any comments or questions from the table? Administration? In the audience? Machine is open.
Thank you.
The ordinance is adopted 8-0. We'll move to 6A2.
7A2?
I'm sorry. That's got me all confused. 7A2.
An ordinance to authorize the parish president for and on behalf of the Plaquemines Parish government to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nature Holding, Inc., wherein Plaquemines Parish government will grant a conservation servitude to Nature Holding, Inc., covering portions of parish-owned lands in sections 4 and 5, Township 14 South, Range 13 East, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as a means for Plaquemines Parish government to provide compensatory mitigation under a permittee responsible mitigation plan to cover unavoidable impacts to wetlands associated with construction of Plaquemines Parish government's East Bank levee lift, New Orleans District Corps of Engineers permit number MVN-211-1995-EOO and MVN-2011-1974-EOO and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
Yes, all as read.
So item 7A2 is the public comment hearing for this item. So is there anyone here to speak on behalf?
Good evening. Blair Rittner, Plaquemines Parish Land Department. This piece of legislation concerns the mitigation bank that the parish is working on developing on the East Bank as part of our mitigation requirement to construct the East Bank back levee. This particular piece of legislation concerns, we purchased a piece of property from the railroad on the East Bank, and right now what we're looking for is to put a conservation easement on our piece of property, which we have to do. And this is like the last leg of this process. We did it on the parish-owned lands. That's part of it is in the Big Mar. This particular piece at the time we didn't own it, so we're just finishing up loose ends on this legislation.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the table?
Yes, the only thing I have to say to this is, Mr. Bartholomew, I commend you for getting a project of this size or nature in your district, because I've been trying for the longest to get a mitigation bank in my area. So I'm just hoping that one day that I will see a mitigation bank within the confines of District 7.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more comment or questions from the table, administration? We'll move to item 6A2.
Ordinance to authorize the parish president for and on behalf of the Plaquemines Parish government to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nature Holding, Inc., whereas Plaquemines Parish government will grant a conservation servitude to Nature Holding, Inc., covering portions of parish-owned lands in sections 4 and 5, Township 14 South, Range 13 East, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as a means for Plaquemines Parish government to provide compensatory mitigation under a permittee responsible mitigation plan to cover unavoidable impacts to wetlands associated with construction of Plaquemines Parish government's East Bank levee lift, New Orleans District Corps of Engineers permit number MVN-2011-1995-EOO and MVN-2011-1974-EOO, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
Offer.
Councilmember Bartholomew offers. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Councilmember Lapine. Any comments or questions from the table? Audience? Machine is open. And the ordinance passes 8-0.
Thank you.
We'll move to item 6A4. Sorry, 7A4. That's messing me up. 7A4.
An ordinance to amend and amend it to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted by reference and which is paraphrased thereto with reference to application number 2015-140 dated August 11, 2015.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
That's one I'd like to offer from I-2 to I-3. No, that's not the one on it? I thought we had the public hearing.
This is the fine.
Oh, okay.
Is there anyone that would like to speak on behalf of this ordinance? Hearing none, we'll move to item 6A4.
No. 6D.
6D. No.
No, it's not 6D.
6A4.
Approving
6A4.
of A2, I-2 to I-3. Okay. I want that.
And you wanted to offer the resolution for denial, which is 6D.
Right.
We'll move to item 6D.
A resolution denying the requested map change filed by CCI Port Nickel LLC from A2 Rural or Agricultural Zoning District to I3 Heavy Industrial Zoning District for property located in parcel 1B, a portion of lots 8 through 22 and part of lot 7 in the St. Clair Plantation in Montplaisir Plantation, Braithwaite, Louisiana, Plaquemines Parish, all in accordance with application number 2015-140, dated August 11, 2015.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
Offer for denial.
Councilmember Bartholomew offers for denial. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Salvant. Any comments or questions from the table? Administration? Audience?
Anybody have any questions?
Is that?
This is based on a recommendation of the zoning board is to denial from A2 to I3.
Okay, okay.
We just want to make sure that.
Okay, we can move
No further
forward.
questions? The machine is open.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
What do you recommend?
Well, legally, I wouldn't comment on what I recommend because I'm just, the zoning superintendent. I just regulate whatever ordinances and regulations are on the board as long as the company that comes in follows all the regulations and restrictions. But as for giving a personal opinion,
You can't.
I don't,
What's the zoning board's recommendation?
to deny the ordinance.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And Ms. Rose, is this the legislation that regarding to the nickel plant with the,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
and this is one that the community opposes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Machine is open. And the resolution denying the map change request is approved 8-0.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Battalmi, yes.
could we move to, which one is that? 7.5?
We'll move to item 7B5.
No.
7B5.
An ordinance to amend and amended to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted by reference and which is paragraphed thereto with reference to application number 2015-143 dated August 11, 2015.
Councilmember Thalamy.
Yeah, offer for discussion. You got to go before the public hearing.
Is there any discussion regarding this ordinance? Hearing none, we will revert back to item 6A5.
An ordinance to amend it and amended to readopt Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as amended, and the Comprehensive Zoning District Map therein adopted by reference and which is paragraphed thereto with reference to application number 2015-143 dated August 11, 2015.
Councilmember Thalamy.
Offer for discussion.
Councilmember Thalamy offers for discussion. There is a second. Second by Councilmember Black. Any comments?
Any
Tabled?
questions?
Questions? This
Was
is for
the zone-
discussion only?
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, what's the zoning board's recommendation, Mitra?
They recommend to approve the zoning change from I-2 to I-3.
Mr. Battalmi, you want to move on that one? Councilmember Salvant.
Can we get a little bit more explanation on that? What are we doing here?
You said from I-2 to I-3, right?
Yeah, but for what purpose? I mean, what are we doing here?
It was a public hearing for CCI Port Nickel to operate a methanol facility at that location.
And I think the zoning board approved that.
Yes, sir. And the constituents had no issue with this parcel being rezoned for I-2 to I-3. The only issue was the most southern part should be left as a buffer zone as A2.
Okay, thank you.
That was the other piece of
That
property.
was my next question. They didn't have concerns with that one
Right.
because of it, with the proximity, I think, right next to the
Yes,
facility.
yes, sir. This
Okay.
one is the one that's adjacent, the southern adjacent parcel to the AMAX
Max
facility.
Okay,
And
thank
the
you.
buffer is in place with this one?
Yes, the A2 to I3, that is not the resolution that was issued for denial, will leaves itself as a buffer.
Okay, appreciate it.
No problem.
Any further comments?
Mr. Chairman, the buffer, I believe, to the south is 1,000 feet, and to the north is 500 feet.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
More questions? The machine is open. Mr. Bartholomew, you offered for discussion only.
Now, ready for a vote?
Oh, you need to remove your second.
Yeah, I'll remove my second and let Mr. Bartholomew reoffer.
I'd like to offer at this time for a vote.
I'll second.
Offered by Councilmember Bartholomew, second by Councilmember Black. No further questions. The machine is open. And the ordinance is adopted 8-0. We'll move to item 7B6.
With that, Mr. Chairman, we can delete, what's the two we have on here?
6A4?
6A4 and what else? That's it? Yeah. 6A4 can be withdrawn.
6A4 will be withdrawn.
Yeah, because it becomes mute.
We'll move to item 7B6.
An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of CNL Canal LLC, Plaquemines, Louisiana, is shown on a map of re-subdivision lot 24A-2 into lots 25A-2A, 25A-2B, 25A-2C, 25A-2D, and 25A-2E. St. Sophie Plantation by Hugh McCurdy III, PLS, dated August 17, 2015. The owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines without cost to Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
Offer.
Councilmember Bartholomew offers for discussion for the public comment. Second by Councilmember Juneau. Any public comment related to this ordinance? Hearing none, we'll revert back to 6A6.
An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of CNL Canal LLC, Plaquemines, Louisiana, is shown on a map of re-subdivision, lot 24A-2 into lots 25A-2A, 25A-2B, 25A-2C, 25A-2D, and 25A-2E, St. Sophie Plantation by Hugh McCurdy III, PLS, dated August 17, 2015. The owners having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the Parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
I'd like to offer for passage.
Offered by Councilmember Bartholomew, second by Councilmember Lapine. Any comments or questions? There are none. Machine is open. The ordinance is adopted 8-0. We'll move to item 6B.
A resolution authorizing a revision to the project description associated with the $59,985,000 Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority Review Bonds, Plaquemines Parish Project, Series 2012, issued for the purpose of financing coastal restoration projects and related infrastructure within the parish, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew.
For discussion.
Councilmember Bartholomew offers for discussion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Black for discussion only. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Yeah, just to give everybody the last chance to have any discussion on that, because it will die. It will be taken off of the agenda after this meeting. So if anybody have any input, time now.
Any comments from the table, administration?
Yes, Constable Bartholomew, the administration naturally wishes that you put everything in that you possibly will need to make sure that we get it all in one financially.
Councilmember Bartholomew?
Defer.
Item 6B will be deferred. Mr. Bartholomew, I think you might want to withdraw 6E.
Well, it's going to fall, but if you want to, that's no problem. It's going to fall.
E.
E. Oh, E, okay. That's not me.
6E.
E. Yeah, that's already, we already done. That's done. So that's withdrawn.
Okay. All right, we'll move to item 6F. C? Oh, I'm
That's what
sorry.
got me. I'm looking at
C is
C.
deferred.
C is deferred?
C is deferred. D is deferred. 6E. I'm sorry. That's right. 6E. Withdrawn. 6F. Here we go. You're confusing me.
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a donation for the Bayou Paddle Festival and to amend the General Fund 2015 operating revenue and expenditure budgets, Public Awareness Department, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'd
Councilmember Bartholomew.
like to offer.
Councilmember
to,
Bartholomew offers there a second.
I'd like to get a unanimous second on that, if y'all don't mind.
Unanimous second?
Yeah, unanimous second.
Unanimous second. Machine is open on a unanimous second. Any comment from the table? Questions?
The administration just wishes to congratulate Michael Powell, our Public Information Officer, for doing a great job with that Paddle Fest.
Mr. Lawrence.
$5,000.
$5,000. Machine is open. Ordinance is adopted 8-0. We move to item 6G.
An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan for the Highway 15 overlay project and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew. Councilmember Bartholomew offers for discussion. Is there a second? 6G. 6G. Is there a
Highway
second?
15, that money.
Is there a second for discussion? Second by Councilmember Black. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Go ahead, Mr. Dugas.
Mr. Bartholomew, are you satisfied with the reflectors and the striping that has been done recently on Highway 15?
It's not finished yet. But what part has been done, pretty decent.
I'll take that as a compliment, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Compared, with the, how long that highway project was in place? For the one we're trying to look at now? About 15 years?
It's been a few.
No, you know how long it's been. You know exactly how long it's been. All I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that this is a project that's been in the books for over 12 years plus, and we have never came to a closure on that project. And I understand the constraints of the budget, how it is. I'm not going to try to defund the budget or put a strain on the budget, because I am a believer of keeping our people employed that's working for the parish. I think we don't have I think that's our main mission, is to make sure the people stay whole. And with that in mind, I'm going to defer that at this time, but I appreciate my colleagues to consider whenever the windfall comes in, that you don't hesitate to rectify something that has been overlooked in 15 years or so, 12 years or so, I'm sorry. I know it's 12 because I've been out for 3. But anyway, I would appreciate y'all consider that when the windfall comes.
Any other comments? 6G will be deferred. We'll move to item 6L.
A resolution to cancel the November 26, 2015 and the December 24, 2015 regularly scheduled council meetings due to the Thanksgiving holiday and Christmas holiday and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
On behalf of Councilmember Roussel, I'll offer and ask for a second.
Second. Unanimous.
Unanimous second. Any comments or questions? Machine is open. The resolution passes 8-0. Move to item 6Q.
A resolution authorizing the Plaquemines Parish Permits Planning and Zoning Department to issue a special permit to Kim Fabiano to place a trailer/camper trailer residence on the property located at 155 Elizabeth Lane, Empire, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Offer.
Councilmember Edgecombe offers. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Edgecombe.
Pretty much what it is, sir. Gentleman was existing before Katrina, of course, got blown away and commuting back and forth, and now wishes to put his mobile home back in place, and of course, due to not conforming or not complying within 6 months, we had to bring this into place, sir.
Any comments or questions from the table? Administration? Audience? Machine is open.
Thank you.
The resolution is adopted 8-0. We'll move to 6R.
An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a donation for the Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department and to amend the General Fund 2015 Operating Revenue and Expenditure Budgets, Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Offer.
Councilmember Edgecombe offers. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Lapine. Mr. Edgecombe.
What this is, pretty much what it says, sir. It's a donation given to the parish from Plaquemines Dirt and Clay for $5,000.
Any other comments or questions from the table? From the audience? Machine is open. And the resolution is, the ordinance is adopted 8-0. Move to item 6S.
An ordinance to authorize the acceptance of a donation for the Grand Bayou Community Center Pavilion and to amend the 2015 operating revenue budget donations, Grand Bayou Community Center Pavilion, and the 5-year capital improvements plan for the Grand Bayou Community Center Pavilion project, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Offer.
Councilmember Edgecombe offers. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Mr. Edgecombe.
Pretty much the same thing, sir. It's from Plaquemines Dirt and Clay, a donation to Grand Bayou Project for $10,000, sir.
Wow.
Any comments from the table? Administration? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open.
Thank you.
The ordinance is adopted 8-0. Move to item 6T.
A resolution confirming Plaquemines Parish supporting the Regional Harbors of Refuge initiative, such as advocated by Louisiana Sea Grant Program in developing proposals to seek funding of areas and installations giving limited mooring and protected refuge for the commercial fishing fleet of southeast Louisiana during adverse climate event.
Councilmember Edgecombe.
Offer.
Councilmember Edgecombe offers. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Mr. Edgecombe.
What this is basically just giving Mr. Rusty Goday with Louisiana Sea Grant, I guess you could say permission, but also telling everybody that he will be talking to that we are all in favor on seeking funding to making these safe mooring facilities. If anybody has any other questions, I know Mr. Richard Blinks in the audience to answer any, if there might be some.
Yes, I have a concern, question. Would that be considered on East Bank as well? Since we have a marina sitting there with a lot of boats in that area as well.
Yes, sir. What we proposed to do was install hurricane pilings, which would be very tall pilings so the boats could rise up with the waters. And we proposed all the public harbors in the in the parish be retrofitted with those hurricane pilings. You know, both the protected harbors, like for instance Empire, Hero Canal, and in the harbors that are exposed, like Port South or Venice and Point Lahash. But it's a they're competing against different cities throughout the country. This is a big grant left over from Superstorm Sandy, and it's something like $1 billion on the table. So the folks at the state got to decide exactly which harbors they were going to do. So I can't tell you with certainty which harbors they will select in Plaquemines Parish.
State of Louisiana?
If they get the money. This is a grant competition. So, but we put together some good stuff for them, so hopefully they decide to invest in that, because each commercial fishing vessel in Plaquemines Parish is a small business. Anything else?
Rich, I want to thank you.
Yeah, welcome back in front of us.
Yeah.
Mr. Lawrence.
Warren Lawrence, Myrtle Grove. I just want to ask if Myrtle Grove would be also considered in the safe harbor grant too. In other words, we have boats come in there during hurricanes. There's nothing to tie up to. They come in, we can't stop them from coming in. Part of the initiative we've had for years was try to get a floodgate and really make a safe harbor. If there's grants available, we'd like to see at least Myrtle Grove being considered to be a safe harbor. If there's money available, a floodgate would make that a perfectly safe harbor. And that's the only one down in the mid part of the parish. So I don't know if that is part of the consideration. I think we were supposed to be meeting Tuesday on that, and I'd just like to make sure that Myrtle Grove is part of that consideration. So far, I understand we're not part of it.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may interject, there are 4 parishes, as was stated, that are in the playoff contest, I guess, to see which one gets the bids. The state will determine as to what projects that they, by Mr. Matt Sanders, and we do have a meeting scheduled. I have to tell you that Mr. Cooper, in speaking with him, preferred the Hero Canal. But that's just to give you all the information that's been put out. But all of that will be taken into account, and we will proceed with that.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any
That's
more?
if we get approved, if we make the cut.
And one comment was the Hero Canal will be a great avenue for the people in Jefferson Parish and not for the people in Plaquemines. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I merely wanted to give you the ideas that they have on the Venice area. At least that's what Mr. Coop, I don't know if he was speaking for all the fishermen in that area, or basically for the ones he represents.
Well, it looks like the parish people are getting left out.
Any further comment on this item? Hearing none, the machine is open. The ordinance is adopted 8-0. We'll move to item 7A. Are there any introductions or resolutions where suspension is being sought? None. We'll move to item 7C. Item 7C will be deferred. Item 7D.
Discussion by Warren Lawrence regarding ordinance number 11-09.
Yeah, Warren Lawrence again. I came before the council last month, gave each councilman and the administration a packet on this ordinance, and have not received any information. You had all the resolutions passed by the previous council with regard to, by surrounding Myrtle Grove with the 12-foot levee on how we're going to be affected. And that ordinance said that they would suspend any action on mile markers 48 to 50 until they find out some impacts on the community. And we're still proceeding ahead, and in my estimation, we're just violating the ordinance and ignoring the ordinance. And either, you know, we're not held in the loop. We don't know what's going on. I know Ms. Audrey said she was looking for the Corps of Engineers to come in about the boathouse as well. We don't even know where that levee's going, where the drainage canal, what's going to happen to us. I mean, I thought maybe, and I wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting, I don't know if we had any discussion on what took place the last week when we was stuck in our houses for 3 days because of a lot of it to do with the Corps of Engineering blocking off our canal, and we are not draining. Today, we're not draining. You go over there right now, the pumping station cannot drain outside. That pumping station only operated at 25% of capacity because the Corps blocked us off. And I don't know what's going to become of it, but I mean, you know, we're just being devastated without any support. We didn't even know it happened until this event came up that we're now blocked off. And I don't know if you know, if y'all are interested, you know, that why we, if any other subdivision in this city or this parish was blocked off like that, I'm sure you'd be looking for reasons why. And we're stuck in a situation, and I just plead with y'all. I mean, you made, the ordinance is there. If it's not to be followed, if the administration don't have to follow the ordinance, then say so. I thought the law applied to everyone, and they're not following it. And, you know, the resolutions, everything supporting us have just gone by the wayside.
Mr. Rittner, you want to address?
First, I'd like to address the breach last week. Number one, the Corps did build a levee section that closed up the drainage canal that came around the north end of the subdivision. And what they did was they rerouted it through a field, and it went upriver and back into the drainage canal and then back to the pump station. It was about a 5-mile diversion. He is correct. We were only running on one pump after that event. Now, let me explain. We had a recorded 3.3-foot tide in that subdivision. The bulkheads are at about 1.25 to about 2 feet. The bulkheads were overtopped and flooded the subdivision. It wasn't not because of what the drainage was impacted due to the lack of pumping. That subdivision was going to flood whether the pumps ran or they didn't run. The problem came is after the event, it took us about 5 days to get the water down to about a minus 3.5. Normally, we operate somewhere around a minus 4.5, which is lower than the 3.5. We went straight to the Corps right after, told them of the problem, and last Friday, they cut a ditch paralleling the levee, which Greg was able to run. I say Greg Simpson, the drainage department, who operates the Myrtle Grove pump. He was able to run and manage the water with 2 pumps running full-time. So the Corps right now is presently scheduled to turn over the new, we're going to start testing the new pump station in January, February timeframe, 2016. But right now, it's not 100% repair, but we do have our water levels down to where we normally maintain. So the second issue concerning the ordinance that was passed in '09, I believe. The Corps right now, we haven't done any appropriations for the construction of the levee system that's going to surround Myrtle Grove. Right now, the Corps is going through a supplemental environmental process. They were supposed to have it completed 15 January of 2016. We're getting words that they're going to move it back to March of next year. So at this time, we're not breaking an ordinance. We don't have the authority to construct a levee. We do have to address this issue. And I mean, Mr. Lawrence, I'll let you speak on this behalf, but the purpose of this ordinance to me, appears that they want a floodgate, and right now, the authority is to build a levee on the perimeter, on the existing alignment, which the Corps is actually in full design of building. There is a diversion on the drainage canal. We do have some issues with the boat sheds, but we're working on that as we speak. But as far as breaking an ordinance, we haven't appropriated anything, so nothing. The only thing the Corps is doing is designing. And I don't think that's breaking the law, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, one comment is that the drainage today is not down to its normal depth. Now, the rerouting that they did, it has not worked yet. It didn't work before. How we got to the point that they did a diversion, we don't know anything about it. As far as what Mr. Rittner says about the bulkheads don't hold in a tide. They never were part of a retention to hold or protect us. Our level of our lots are higher than the bulkhead. The bulkhead is immaterial to this site. We have drainage in this subdivision. That drainage went into the pasture on the east side. That drains are stopped up. Those drains have been stopped up, thanks to some of the past administration of plugging them. So we don't get drainage even for rain. This is an outrageous thing for Mr. Rittner to stand up here and say he knows that the drainage in our area has been affected, it's not been taken care of. Forget the floodgate. I don't even care if there is a floodgate. What they have to do is tell us how are we going to maintain drainage. We bought lots in subdivision that the parish supplies our drainage. Are we going to still have that drainage, or we're now going to be told that when the tide gets to a 4-foot level, tough luck, we plug you off? That's just what we've been told by Mr. Rittner, not by the Corps of Engineers, not even a pumping station to help us. This has been an attack on our lifelong dreams to live in this parish. And we have not been contacted, we've not been keep abreast. I mean, you know, all this openness and fairness and let you know what's going on. They are relocating, not on the levee site that was approved when they had public hearings. They are moving, they are realigning those levees. And if they're going to realign the levees, there should be public hearings to see why. What is the cost? Last time I was up here, I gave y'all a copy of the cover sheet of the Evans-Graves study. Have any of you received that study? We paid for that. This parish paid for that study. It's on some shelf collecting dust, I guess, to look at our impact on what we would be. This previous council authorized Mr. Nungesser to hire an engineering firm to do it. They did it, it's never been presented, and as far as I know, I'm assuming they've been paid for doing it. And they should have made a presentation, if not to the past council, at least to this council, on what the facts are. The money saved, if they would have put a floodgate, would more than pay for the floodgate. The Corps says they can't use the money they save to put in a floodgate, but it's going to cost you twice as much because you're going to have to maintain 2 more drainage canals, 6 more miles of levee, and still have to maintain the drainage in our area too. And this is just, I'll go back, what happened to Evans-Graves study? Where's it at? What did it conclude? Why has it been presented?
The Evans-Graves study was a study they did. They looked at what the Corps had proposed on building a floodgate. What they did was they took their facts and figures, looked at it, compared, ran costs, and gave a comparable cost, what the Corps gave us versus what they estimated. Their estimate at the time was higher than the Corps. But that be what it is, I want to explain on what he's saying about the bulkheads. All right, right now, the bulkheads at Myrtle Grove actually stop the water, tide water, in Myrtle Grove Canal from coming into the subdivision. That's the only thing. Once that water gets over the bulkheads, what happens is it runs into our drainage system. It goes straight to the pump, and if the pump's running, it's pumping it right back into the Myrtle Grove Canal. So it becomes a washing machine once it goes over the bulkheads in that canal. The difference between the bulkheads and his street is at roughly about a 3-foot difference in elevation. So the water goes straight to the streets, and if it stays in long enough, which we saw an event a week ago, that it far exceeded, the elevation of the water was basically the elevation of the Myrtle Grove Canal. So at no point when that water was at a +3, if we ran all 4 pumps, we would never bring the water level down. Basically, it's the Gulf of Mexico. Whatever the elevation is at Myrtle Grove Canal, that's the elevation that we have to deal with. So I wanted to clarify that point on the bulkheads.
Thank you, Blair. Again, I don't think we're going to have any resolution to that today, but maybe a sit-down meeting with...
Well, I just say that let Evans Graves, if they made the study, who did they present it to and why wasn't it presented to the council?
We'll take note of that. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Before we dispense with the meeting, I have another ordinance I'd like to introduce before we leave.
We're back to introductions. Item 5, Mr. Bartholomew.
An ordinance transfer of funding from the Reach B2 Vegetation Ridge and the Marsh Creation Project, Fort Jackson to Venice to the East Bank levees, a hurricane protection project, otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
We'll move to item 6E. I'm sorry, 7E.
Discussion by Mickey McCarthy regarding LSU Ag property.
Mr. Chairman, can you tell me if the oil people left?
I'm assuming they did, yes.
I would love to be able to put something together to take this parish off of the system of trying to do a budget on the price of a barrel of oil. I would like to purchase the LSU Ag Center if it's possible. We can lease it if it's possible. I think I've heard that if we could purchase it and make a good deal of it there. If I'm able to do that, I will start in Mr. Salvant's area, council. Biofuel International, which will employ 200 people, which will make 1,250 containers for export. And it would be the first of 4 industries I want to bring into that area. I can give you the names of them. The next one would be Emerald Prepared Meals, Durban Foods, and Electric Generation Plant. Can you tell me which councilman controls the area where the Red Star Yeast Building is?
Councilman, Mr. Juneau.
That's you? Yes, sir. I would like to refurb the Red Star the Red Star building and make an office building out of it. Next to it, I would like to put an international village, which will build up the business of the port, and that would be there. Could you tell me who's the man from the East Bank? I would like to
Mr. McCarty, before you go any further, let's stick to the agenda item that we're talking about, the LSU Ag property. If we could stick to that particular item.
It starts the whole thing off, sir.
Okay.
I would like to put several businesses into your area, primarily the port, the container port. Secondarily, I would like to put what's known as a free port or free duty port. I can work a system where Mr. Sanders and I can agree on things, and I'd be glad to do that also. With the system of the free port, I would like to resurrect what's known as the Basho Furniture Company. I would bring, I think, 3 other companies that would be adjacent to it. I would like to put an abattoir in the Harlem Plantation. I would like to put cattle pens out there or feed pens. And I would like to put encapsulated block plant there. You're talking about hiring several thousands of people. And if you're interested in them, I have the plans already made up on them. Well, I'll get with Mr. Sanders, and he and I will come together on the port. And I'd be glad to do that also. We are putting something like $6 billion into Plaquemine Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty.
If I could just, I'm Dick Lee, CEO of Leprechaun Farms. If I could just answer your question, we are working with the parish attorneys to come up with a resolution on the LSU property. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll move to item 8, approval of the minutes from the October 22nd, 2015 meeting. Is there an offer? Offered by Councilmember Edgecombe. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Machine is open for the approval of the minutes. And the minutes are approved 7-0. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion is offered by Councilmember Black. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Williams. Machine is open on adjournment. Thank you all.
You did a good job.
Thank you all.
Let's give a hand to Mr. Clerk.